On this channel, I typically don't cover Planet Zoo, and that's largely because I've never played Planet Zoo. I bought Planet Zoo 1, I just have never gotten around to actually playing it. So yeah, I mean, like, the odds of me playing Planet Zoo 2 are probably not very high, if we're being honest. However, it's kind of interesting having Planet Zoo 2 be announced right now with the state of Jurassic World Evolution 3, both in terms of the general silence and in terms of some of, let's say, the quality issues in JWE3, let's say. Things like lagoons and aviaries, which, based off my understanding of what we're going to see in this trailer, might become more apparent, let's say. So we're going to watch this. I'm going to provide my feedback, my thoughts on this as a Jurassic World Evolution player. And yeah, I guess that's the video. Sure do be a tiger. We get Archelon in Planet Zoo 2 before we get it in JWE 3. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna pause as we go through here. One thing I don't think gets enough attention when you people compare Planet Zoo 2 and Jurassic World Evolution 3. This is obviously a very abstract and cartoonified art style for the guests. That's not very realistic. I always found this kind of jarring, how the animals are like modeled to be very real, and then the guests are just like some cartoon blob kinda, but it's a choice. It's fine. It's not bad. It's just kind of jarring to me, right? And at first glance. But like simplifying some parts of the art style probably helps with system resources. So yeah, we have so this is a new feature, I know this, like the aquariums or whatever. Um this looks obviously way fucking better than a JWE3 lagoon, which is really just a wet hole in the ground that you can put a few objects in. Theoretically, you would probably make a lagoon that looked like this in JWE3 with like a lot of effort with the modular building pieces. So technically speaking, right, if we're analyzing this from the point of view of could you achieve this in JWE3 and put it in a trailer, you could achieve this viewpoint of this like glass wall or whatever with this person looking at it, but the interior you could probably pull that off. Would it be deceptive? Yeah, kind of. It would take hours to build, but it's not impossible. But this looks, I mean, if this is typical of building one of these enclosures in Planet Zoo 2, it's very unfortunate the current state of lagoons in JWE, which is that they haven't changed since JWE 2. So yes, we were here. And I would say that this like rocky bit coming up over here is much harder to do in GW2 as well, but I'm pretty sure you can do it. You just kind of have to stack the right kind of rocks to like lift it up through the water. It wouldn't be like a singular piece really. Yeah, this has always been a sticking point in discussions with JWE3, right? We got modular building, but we have no bridges. And Planet Zoo 1 has bridges. So this just serves to rub salt in our wounds. Look, peasants, look at our bridge. Monkey. I understand that it's an ape. Don't at me. Crocodilomorphs and Planet Zoo 2 before JWE. I mean, that right there, that is tech that we don't have currently in JWE3. We don't have creatures able to transition from a fully aquatic environment, like a lagoon environment. We have obviously deep water with like the Spinosaurids, but we don't have like, a platform that an animal can lounge on and then go also swim in the water and like come up. This is similar to the Nothosaurus and Archelon in JWE2 at a glance, except instead of it being a singular weird rock, this is a like a either a floating chunk of wood or a wooden platform, either way. I suppose you can probably see the top of it there. So I can't tell if it's connected to something, but yeah. I don't know. I mean, these games run on the same engine. Stuff can be ported between these, at least Planet Zoo 1. So, I mean, it's possible some of this like Lagoon tech for Planet Zoo 2 could make its way into JWE 3, maybe. I wouldn't bet on it, but it's theoretically possible. But yeah, I'd be really curious to know with this, this aquarium setup where they can transition up onto these platforms. If these platforms are dynamic in their, how they're built, or if there's just a singular platform or a handful of specific platforms that they can just lounge on in a very scripted way that like the Nothosaurus and Archelon and JW2 did. Yeah, very curious about how that works. Lords. They got dinosaurs in Planet Zoo 2. They're stepping on our feet. They're taking our shit. How can we allow this? So I believe birds are new tech as well, like at least like flying, like aviary style stuff. Not really seeing much of it here. Definitely much more of a focus on the water stuff. So I'm thinking that's the bigger thing they're let's say proud of, and the birds are kind of a secondary thing. October 2026. It's a very nice looking biome. You can get some nice shots in JW3, of course, but I don't know if always hard to tell with these gameplay shots how doctored they are, i.e., how like fine tuned. Did somebody spend hours setting up the perfect shot, or is this just like typical, right? I've iterated a few times, but the way the terrains and plants blend in JW3 is really awkward right now. It could use some improvements if this is, like the way these like trees and plants and stuff are scattered looks nice, but it could all be individually placed, in which case it's fully doable in JW3. So some people talk, of course, about maybe the situation with JW3, like the lack of updates for the last few months, and just kind of some of the general dissatisfaction with the implementation of some mechanics and things, and especially like challenge mode players feel pretty dissatisfied. Some people spin out that, well, maybe that's because all the resources are going to Planet Zoo 2. And you can't say that that's true. You can't say that that's false, but that's probably not true. Let's take that stance, right? Probably a different team. There's maybe you have a few people shuffled off of JW 3 to help with the launch of Planet Zoo 2, that kind of thing. There's definitely not going to be a case of like a vast reduction in JWE 3 workforce to support Planet Zoo 2, right? That's not very realistic. I think the biggest thing people don't talk about in that regard, like, yeah, JWE 3 is a licensed product. Frontier, from their own perspective of like, let's just call it vaguely investment, like emotional investment in the franchise. From the point of view of Frontier, and Planet Zoo being their own thing and JWE being a licensed thing, that you can look at that and you could say, well, yeah, of course they want to support Planet Zoo too. But the opposite side of that coin is the fact that JW3 being a licensed thing means that Universal has expectations for content and development of the game, right? Frontier is not making a game solely for themselves. They're making it for a secondary party, and that secondary party is going to have expectations on how that game is produced. You can look through like the history of video games and find instances where people did funnel money and resources and people away from licensed products into their in-house things. Look at Gearbox. And that kind of shit did blow up in their faces. Gearbox, of course, is still around. Maybe they should be. As an Aliens fan, I harbor resentments against Gearbox. but you know, they didn't get out of that unscathed, right? That it's and Universal takes much more of a hands-on, as we can tell, a hands-on approach with their IP. So we got the deluxe edition, 6 animal species: eagle, monkey, axolotl. We got a fish, we got another fish, and we got a shark, which is in fact a fish. Deluxe animal shows. Pre-order for a photo wall, a shop, and some decorations. Okay. I mean, yeah, the standard procedure for Frontier deluxe editions and pre-orders. Um, Another thing I saw about this game, pretty much the only other thing I saw, because I didn't want to dig into things too much before watching like the trailer. They're gonna have wildlife preserves, kind of. People are calling it, at least on the JWE side of things, like an ecosystem build, which is something that a lot of people in JWE really want, and is something that you really can't do in JWE because the animal AI, as limited as it is, doesn't really allow you to make any kind of sustainable ecosystem. You could sort of fake it in the short term, but as far as for like, realistically building your little, essentially your ant colony and just watching it play out, that doesn't really work. It almost immediately collapses in JW3, generally speaking. You still need feeders. It's just like, it's not really a thing. Site B mode. So if they actually put a lot of work into that in Planet Zoo 2, that is another area where people are going to feel slighted by Frontier. Another place where JWE players are going to feel slighted, that is, since that has been kind of a community desire since pretty much the first game to have a better Site B mode experience. That we just never really get it ever. So Planet Zoo animals have more needs. They have like enrichment and stuff, right? I don't know if the Planet Zoo animal AI is any better than JWE's, because JWE's is very limited and artificial. I'd be very curious I'm very curious to see this wildlife preserve mode and see if that is anything at all in terms of like interesting animal interactions, or if it's really just like analogous to having your handful of animal behaviors that they exhibit when they're in a small pen, except now they're in a big pen, right? I don't know. It's I think it's definitely a big missed opportunity, especially for JWE, given that like a zoo is not going to be putting its animals into a situation where they're going to be eating each other, but it's kind of a thing in Jurassic, right? And so the lack of capability to have any kind of sustained ecosystem in JWE does feel like a big letdown. It does feel like a big section of the game that's just missing in a way. And I just would like to see much better animal AI that could support something like that. I'm just curious if Planet Zoo 2 will have that sort of AI, or if it will just be kind of another really limited and artificial feeling AI system for the animals. If they'll feel really robotic or not. I don't know. Well, anyway, that's kind of my thoughts on the trailer, my commentary. I mean, yeah. I don't know what else to add. I'm not here. I'm not looking for monkey game. I'm looking for dinosaur game, but it's relevant to my interest since it's the same company. The same genre, same company. It has consequences for us in the GWE community. All right. Well, that's gonna be it. That's enough rambling here, I think. All right. Till next time.